And a money manager had asked me to go out and take a look at the roof and evaluate certain things. The chimney inspection came back, and the chimney basically was compromised. There was a lot of fissures in the cement work and the mortar and the brick, and basically it had to be rebuilt. So the problem with this particular chimney is that it was in the center of the roof. So it was a very large roof, and it was right in the center. It was a massive chimney, about 4 foot by 6 foot, made out of brick. And the roofing material that was used on the building was a product called CalShake. Now, they no longer make CalShake. CalShake was a perlite and fiberglass mix with coloring oxides. It holds up very well, except for one problem. It's very, very breakable. In the industry, we called it the potato chip roof. So you go up there and it's like walking on potato chips. So the money manager said, well, okay, the chimney's got to get rebuilt, and it's going to run $15,000 to $20,000 to rebuild the chimney. He said, but I've heard that the roofing material is very, very brittle. I said, yes, it is. He said, so what's going to happen to the roof when the masons go up there and do all the demolition work, and they bring up new steel, new mortar, new brick, and rebuild this whole thing? I said, well, they're going to destroy the roof. He said, well, how much is a new roof on this fairly large estate? I said, well, they don't make the product anymore, so they're not going to be able to match it in, even if they could, patch it. You can't get product. So you're going to have to re-roof the whole thing, and that's going to run you $40,000, $50,000. So he said, okay, so the chimney costs us $15,000 to $20,000, and the roof costs us $40,000 to $50,000. Okay, Russ, you think that you're smart. How are we going to figure this out? How are we going to figure this out? And I said, well, let me think about it. So what I did is I went out and got some plywood, bought 1.5-inch, 2-inch foam, glued the foam to the plywood. I made about 40 of these units. So we put them up 4 foot wide. So you'd have an 8 foot wide walking path. So one man could go up and one man could go down and not have to, do a lane change as they're taking down product and taking product up and that sort of thing. So we gave them a really terrific walk path, and then we surrounded the chimney about 4 foot out in all directions. Well, they proceeded to do the demolition on the chimney. They rebuilt the chimney. And then the day of the reckoning came. And when they were finished, the money manager was there with the homeowner and said, okay, well, let's see how the roof did. We don't want to pay the $40,000, $50,000 for a new roof. Maybe these things you made, Russ, are going to work. Well, the great surprise was, as we pulled the pads up, there was not a single broken piece of CalShake. And so they didn't have to replace their roof, though they had rebuilt the entire chimney. So I thought to myself, well, this is a pretty cool idea. And then our company didn't have these prior to that, so we started using them. And then I started looking around, and I thought, this is a pretty simple idea. You get a board, you put a piece of foam on it, you cut out a handhold. I'm sure somebody makes these somewhere. I just haven't found them. And of course, this is kind of before the internet was really going and that sort of thing. So you had to kind of go through the yellow pages and talk to manufacturers and supply houses. And as we began to investigate, believe it or not, nobody in the entire world makes a pad with a foam on it, with a handhold that you can put on the roof that you can walk on so you don't break stuff. It blew me away. I thought, so then we searched, okay, has anybody patented this thing? Found out there was not a patent on this. So we designed it with through the patent process, and were awarded a patent for the pad. Now, the great news about the pad is that we also have items that attach to the pad. We have several items, and all of those items are patented as well. We have on the bottom side of the on the bottom end of the pad, we have a ladder brace that you can attach to it. It has ports, 3 ports that fit into a preformed holes or ports in the pad. You tie that off, you bring the pad past the gutter so you don't damage the gutter when you put the ladder up, and then you tie the ladder to the pad. Now the ladder can't come out top-wise, and it can't go left or right because there's ears on the ladder brace that hold the pad in place, that hold the ladder in place. Then we also then use the pad at the bottom of the feet of the ladder. You put those in the center of the pad and you tie the ladder off to the pad at the bottom. So the typical ladder feet has approximately 20 square inches of footing at the 2 feet on the ladder. When you put it on the pad and tie it off to the pad, the footing now goes from 20 square inches to 1,000 square inches of stability for your ladder. So the ladder literally cannot, the feet cannot come out as they're tied off to the pad. And we have straps now that we manufacture. So it takes a matter of maybe 2-3 minutes to set the pad on the, set the ladder on the pad, tie that off. Takes another 1 to 2 minutes to tie off the ladder brace. So now your ladder has moved from a very mobile but very dangerous tool that can come out. The feet can come out, the top can come out, the top can go left or right. Now the ladder actually has now moved from being a mobile ladder to a fixed ladder in a matter of 4 minutes, increasing the safety of everybody that uses the ladder. Yeah. So 80% of all serious accidents in construction are ladder related. So we're beginning to sell the pads and the ladder braces to companies that, as an example, that load roofs. They have the people tied off, but their weak point in the system is that the ladders are still leaning up against the gutter, denting the gutter. And as the people go up and down, either the feet can come out or the ladder slips left to right. So it's a huge, huge problem.
Sure,
So
Russ.